Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyate Shatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktabinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for being here. Hearing the realizations, the knowledge, and the spirit of inspiration that has been spoken by you today very much humbles me and awakens a most joyful hope. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote on the Samadhi temple of Srila Haridas Thakur, he reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die. When thou art living, still in sound, Vaishnavas died to live and live to spread the holy names around. How this is echoing in our temple room today. Srila Prabhupada living with us, among us. The Vapu and Vani are actually simultaneously one and different. Vapu, the physical association of our gurus and the great Vaishnavacharyas, and Vani is the sound vibration of their teachings, and also the sound vibration of hearing devotees who were recalling their Vapu connection. And they are both beyond the limits of material time because they're transcendental. Through Srila Prabhupada's books, his lectures, his letters, his instructions to disciples and followers, we have received the message of our Guru Parampara coming through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates to the time of Krishna, and beyond that to the time of Narada Muni and Brahma. This timeless teaching Srila Prabhupada has given in his vani. And his Vapu, his pastimes while he was physically present on this earth, are also eternal. I'm hearing Srila Prabhupada's pastimes today from you. And almost every one of the pastimes told, we've probably all heard them hundreds of times. But yet how relishable and how sweet and how inspiring and how faith-building they are. It was really like just, how many times have we heard pastimes of Krishna? We'll be going to Mayapur with Srila Prabhupada's grace in November. And you'll be hearing mostly pastimes that you've heard so many times before. And that's why we go. Because the more we hear, if we're actually hearing receptively, the more we hear the same, the deeper and deeper the realizations are. And even the spiritual relish of it is. To be enthusiastic to hear Shravana is the means by which we get deeper and deeper realizations. We could learn more by hearing the same thing we've heard hundreds of times enthusiastically, if it's transcendental instruction and pastimes. We could learn more than learning something new. It's natural to want to hear something new. But Parikshit Maharaj explained to Sukadev Goswami that hearing from you, everything is newer and newer. And Srila Prabhupada would tell us, we are chanting these 3 names in a mantra in the form of 16 words. I'm a little hesitant to say it because I don't know how long the echoes will happen. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Gopinath Temple, the Maha Mantra is echoing from the walls and the ceiling and the floor and everything. But Srila Prabhupada will often say, 16 rounds every day? Now, how many names we're chanting? And yet kirtan, and in places like Mayapur and Vrindavan and other places, 24-hour kirtans. And if we're hearing attentively, if we're hearing in such a way that we're trying to surrender our hearts to please Krishna, not only as we're hearing, but through the life that we're living, then Krishna's pleased to reveal himself. And that's where the real spiritual experience is when Krishna's revealing himself and we're making that connection within our hearts. And Krishna reveals himself not only through his own pastimes, but through the pastimes of those who love him. So we are hearing these beautiful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada throughout the evening, and how much excitement it's being spoken. There were so many devotees that have been spoken about that had so much personal, physical association with Srila Prabhupada. And they became spiritually electrified by that association. And then when they speak about, we get that same current of electrification according to our receptivity. At the beginning of the event this evening, Sridhama Prabhu, he quoted His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj, that when Radha Gopinath, when Krishna hears us appreciating with gratitude through our glorification of Srila Prabhupada, that gives so much happiness to Krishna. Yes, yesterday was Janmashtami, and we were making so many wonderful offerings to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath and Abhishekams. And today, on the day of Nandotsav, where in Krishna's Leela, that is the day of the great celebration, we are making offerings to Srila Prabhupada of our love, our gratitude, our appreciation. And what is Srila Prabhupada giving us? As transparent via media. Those were the words Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would use for the spiritual master, the transparent via media. If we meditate on those words, it's profound. And Srila Prabhupada, he is transparent via media. In our appreciation, in our gratitude, in our love, and in our offerings to Srila Prabhupada, how much we're giving pleasure to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. And it's in giving pleasure to the Lord through the devotee of the Lord that Krishna is pleased to reveal himself to us. And this sacred principle is beyond time. It's beyond generations. Srila Prabhupada received instruction to take Lord Chaitanya's message to the Western world in the English language in 1922. As we have heard, he was married with a child, responsibilities. But still, that message, that presence of his spiritual master for just that short meeting in Calcutta on a rooftop, 43 years later, he took that journey to the West to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And it was, as was described today, the humility of Srila Prabhupada, that I'm simply executing the order of the spiritual master. I don't know how to preach to these people. I'll just repeat your words, Krishna, as my Guru has given me. And by your power, they could understand. He took no credit, but yet he was fully enthusiastic. And this is such a transcendental principle. Gauranga Prabhu was describing it, and it's really a transcendental principle. How to be enthusiastic and humble. Because materially, people are enthusiastic because of what we get out of it, directly or indirectly. Yes, we're enthusiastic to work, usually because we get money. You know, for ourselves, for our family, for name and fame of charity. We want fame. We want recognition. We want physical benefits and pleasures. So the whole world, we see such enthusiasm because, you know, we will gain materially. And if we're not gaining materially, then why are we enthusiastic? But the spiritual principle, Srila Prabhupada was giving up literally everything to give pleasure to his Guru and to give mercy to all of us in the world. With the most enthusiasm. That is a transparent via media. Yes, remembering Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. Remembering and sharing his teachings. And sincerely, earnestly, and honestly trying to apply them to our lives, moment by moment. That is where we can experience what Krishna consciousness actually is. Radhaduti Prabhu was telling about his visit to Russia. Tens and tens and thousands of enthusiastic devotees. In the early days, they were persecuted, prosecuted, tortured. How did it all happen? Srila Prabhupada just got an invitation. He wrote to some professors. He was writing all over. And he got an invitation to Russia. And he took it so enthusiastically, with such enthusiasm. He tried to get a visa. And yet, it was very difficult. But Srila Prabhupada pressed it and asked different devotees, and finally he got one. And Shamsundar Prabhu tells the story. He went with Srila Prabhupada. He got him the visa. Srila Prabhupada was not allowed to go out and mix with people. He was very contained. He was only allowed to mix with a couple totally atheistic professors. But Shamsundar would go out to try to find some food for Prabhupada to eat. There was practically no vegetables there at the time, or fruits. And he happened to meet a Russian boy and an Indian friend, and brought him to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada for 3 days was so enthusiastic to preach to him. And then Prabhupada was enthusiastic in so many ways. He sent Mandakini Devi, a girl, to marry him. He sent Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj for a book fair, because it was a professional type of situation. And thousands of devotees now, tens and thousands. And I'm not just speaking of Russia. We're speaking, there was a Hare Krishna explosion in the whole former Soviet Union and Eastern Europe. Whatever's happening in all the countries of that Eastern Europe, and that, it was all from that hopeless situation where Srila Prabhupada planted that seed and electrified devotees as his representatives. We heard story today about Srila Prabhupada and Mukunda Goswami Maharaj, and at that time Janaki Devi, start a center in California. They were devotees for less than 1 year. They never lived in the temple. They lived in a flat, a little apartment in the Bowery. But they went. And in San Francisco, Srila Prabhupada had met Yamuna, Janaki's sister, and he electrified her heart. And they just came together, and it created a spiritual revolution there. Krishna consciousness became nationwide in America by the devotees in San Francisco. And it was all established by a husband and wife who were devotees less than a year, and the others were just devotees who became devotees at that time. And then 3 Grihastha couples from there, they were only devotees for less than 2 years. They were sent to London. And they created a whole Hare Krishna explosion in London. There was one devotee, even before them, who was sent to Germany. And he started a movement in Germany. Srila Prabhupada just sent couple disciples to Africa, and let us look what's happening in Africa now. Beautiful temples in some countries. Here from India, he sent some devotees to Australia, to Japan. There's thousands of devotees, many temples, New Zealand, Australia. Now, most of you here have been devotees 10, 20, 30 or more years. Srila Prabhupada established these temples and these entire nations with devotees mainly. He planted those seeds, even coming to India. Devotees who just were so inspired by him, even though they were only devotees for a couple years. They were so empowered. And we're all reaping the benefits of the current of grace that Srila Prabhupada manifested through them. When I first came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, it was just a few minutes from here at Cross Maidan in Park. 1971, I believe, March or April that time. And there were thousands of people coming because of a lot of advertisement. But behind it, there were just everything that was going on was Srila Prabhupada's empowerment on just a few people who just came from the West, who didn't know anything about how India worked. And nobody was a devotee more than about 5 years, at the most. And they were raising funds, they were advertising, and they were setting up pandals. None of them had ever done any of this ever before in their life, anywhere in the world. How did it happen? I remember, I'm seeing 20,000 people coming, but I'm just seeing a handful of Western people who actually manifested it all. And I didn't see any Indian people at that time who were actually devotees committed to our ISKCON movement. Srila Prabhupada's selfless, enthusiastic, totally humble commitment to carry out the order of his spiritual master was an expression of Srila Prabhupada's pure, unalloyed love for Krishna and his pure, unalloyed compassion for all living beings. And that was so powerful. We heard how Srila Prabhupada was talking about an international society for Krishna consciousness. Even before anyone was initiated, there were just a few people visiting a broken down storefront in what then was a really run-down area of New York. And the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It was actually bewildering. Is this a dream? Is this just some sort of propaganda? They could feel and they could know from Srila Prabhupada that this was his enthusiasm. This was his faith, which was all coming from his prema, his love. And therefore, when they saw Srila Prabhupada in such a humble situation, never giving up, and so blissfully serving in any situation, they were electrified by that current. And actually, they just went out there and did the same thing. When I say did the same thing, that means they were Srila Prabhupada's puppets. They were letting that current flow through them. And this is a humility that we must very deeply pray to understand. Because where there's a current, if we don't honor and protect that current, then there could be a short circuit. And when there's a short circuit, sometimes the current just doesn't go through anymore. There's nothing there. And at other times, it could create an explosion. and a lot of suffering and fire, which means a lot of suffering and confusion. So how great a responsibility we have to protect that current. And I'm so grateful and so proud of all of you for receiving Srila Prabhupada's mercy and Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's mercy in such a way that over years and decades, you still have enthusiasm to spread this mission. You still have the enthusiasm to rise above the inevitable discrepancies and quarrels and challenges that come between us, to preserve his community and expand his community. Surrender. Through surrender, we're connected and empowered. Surrender is not something that happened in the past and now it's done. Surrender is moment to moment, reinvigorating. Making the conscious choice to remain connected. And it shouldn't be surprising to us, either when we hear about it or see it, that people lose their enthusiasm. People become disconnected. What is the loss? The loss is in the opportunity, but but the gain is eternal. Whatever advancement we make is forever. Whatever distractions we succumb to, it will be burned away through suffering and karma. But nothing could ever burn away the investment of whatever positive devotional service we have done. To become a very pure advanced devotee means we have such a higher taste for surrendering that it's the joy of our life. Nothing else interests us. But to reach that point, we need to make a conscious choice, moment to moment, day by day, year by year, decade by decade, throughout our whole life, to keep that connection as our greatest priority. I thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for blessing all of these devotees and giving them such a wonderful, wonderful appreciation of your divine grace. And it's the joy of my life to hear your honor and respect and enthusiasm to serve Srila Prabhupada. Is really non-different than hearing from Srila Prabhupada's personal associates. Because whatever you have, it's coming from them. And it's not lost in time. When there's disconnection, it's lost. But when that connection is there through our sincere service, it empowers us more and more. On this holy day of Sri Vyasa Puja for His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, let us, for the pleasure of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, surrender our hearts with gratitude to receive Srila Prabhupada's message and to share it with each other in the world. I thank you very much.